hand side. Today you are going to learn how to get from the right hand side to the left hand side. Given this equation here, are you able to just take out common factors? Are you able to do grouping? Are you able to do grouping?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Last two questions, when you look at the last few questions, right?
No.
The grouping has how many terms? Grouping question has how many terms? 4 terms. How many terms are there here? 3. So can you do grouping?
No.
Cannot. This one cannot do grouping. Okay? So, how do you do this? I'm going to explain using multiplication frame. Okay, do you remember what is the multiplication frame? Okay, when you do expansion, that means from left to right, y plus 3 and y plus 1. Remember this multiplication frame? How you get your answer is basically, this becomes y squared. How do you get y squared? Good, y times y. Then, how about the box on this side? This side. So, what happens here? Y times 3. Therefore, you get positive 3x. Okay? Then, thank you very much. Okay? So, how about this particular box? Y plus 1y, and 3. So can you see that the product from this square, right, is y squared plus 4y plus 3. Okay? So that's the answer for the product, which is the right hand side. How about the left hand side? Where does the left hand side come from? Based on the multiplication frame, where do the left hand side come from? The top and the left. Very good. Okay. So the factors are on the top and on the left. The product is inside here. Okay. So now we are going to work reverse process, right? Because just now we went through the expansion part. Now we go through how you do factorization by multiplication. Okay, this is how it looks like. The question says y squared. Okay. Okay, y squared plus 4y plus 3. Alright, so now we work backwards. Again, I use multiplication frame first. Okay, first thing first, I need to determine the factors. How do I determine this factor and this factor from this equation? How do I determine this and this? Y. How do you know it's Y? Because it's y squared. Exactly. Very clever. Okay. So this is supposed to be filled up first. Y squared. Why do I fill up y squared first? Because from y squared, I know straight away. This must be y and y. Okay. Then the next step. Okay. The next step, you also can determine here and here using which number on the equation expression. How do I determine this and this? You must get plus 3, right? You must get plus 3, right? So for you to get plus 3, what are the two factors here and here? Correct. 1, 3. Do you follow so far? Okay? So these two particular boxes are very, very important. These two boxes are what you start with. Okay, so this and this I just stick to yellow, are the first two boxes you fill up because it gives you clues to factors. Okay, these are the two clues to factors. Okay, now this two part is to check what should I fill up in this box. Correct. Okay, so it should be plus y. And how about this box? Correct. Okay, so I write down again. Plus 3y. Total. What's the total? 4y. It serves as a check Is it 4y in the equation? Correct? So it tallies, right? It tallies, okay? So your answer will be, after the whole process, right? Your answer will be y squared plus 4y plus 3 is equals to y plus 1, y plus 3. Okay? This is the reverse process. Everybody okay? You understand how to use the multiplication frame? Let's try out the question below that. Okay, now most of you have tried this already. Now I'm going to show you the incorrect answer first. Okay? After I show you the incorrect answer, then I will do the correct one. Now the reason why I want to show you the incorrect answer is so that I don't want you to do the same mistake. Okay, this is your multiplication frame. I know that this is supposed to be x squared because that determines x and x. Everybody okay?
Yes.
Alright, next, what do I fill up the box, the frame with? 10. The first thing that comes to you when I ask you what is a factor of 10 is 1 times 10. 1 times 10. Okay? Plus, plus, plus. Now, this is where there is a check. You need to do your wonderful check. Plus 1 times x give you plus x. And x times plus 10 becomes plus 10x. When you add this together, what do you get? 11x. So your product becomes x squared plus 11x plus 10. Is this the same as the question? No. Okay? So this is the reason why this yellow box, this yellow, the one that I'm circling now, is important. It serves as a check. Okay? You check whether your middle term is correct or not. If it's wrong, therefore the answer is not correct. Okay? So, let's try this way. Now this is the correct one. X squared is xx. 10, instead of 1 times 10, what is the answer supposed to be? Thank you. 2 times 5. So when you check, here is plus 2x. Here plus 5x. All together how many? 7x. So I get x squared plus 7x plus 10. Does this tally to the question?
Yes.
Correct. So your answer comes from x plus 2 and x plus 5. Can you see? X plus 2, x plus 5. You can also write it as x plus 5, bracket x plus 2. Yes, Isra? Yes, factorization will be tested. I do not expect to see the frame in the exam. I only expect to see this answer. Okay? I only expect to see the factorized form. Everybody okay so far?
Yes.
Okay, great. Alright, now. Right, the problem is students are confused by this form. Can you change it to the general form? What's the first term? General form. You remember the general form? ax squared plus bx plus c. What goes as the first term? X squared. Second term? Minus x minus 2. Okay? Now this is clearer. So now when you do your multiplication frame, okay? This is times, right? So I need to put x squared because that will give me x and x. I need to get minus 2. The problem is minus 2 can be minus 2 times 1. It can also be minus 1 times 2. Good. So how do I determine? This is how I usually do it. I determine the numbers first, the signs last. Okay? Determine numbers first, signs last. So I put the number first. 1, 2. Then I check. 1 times x will give me x. 2 times x will give me 2x. I have 2x and x. Check the middle term, which is minus x. How do I get minus x? Is it 2x minus x or minus 2x plus x? Correct. Minus 2x plus x. That's when you put in the sign. So you put in the sign. This has to be minus. This has to be plus. Therefore, it follows that this has to be minus. This has to be plus. Everybody follow? Follow? Yes. Determine numbers. Then you check the middle term and determine the sign. So your answer is x plus 1, x minus 2. You can also write x minus 2, x plus 1. Everybody okay so far? Okay. Once you're okay, I will show you your tuition method. Or my generation also we use this method. Now, the tuition method, actually it works exactly the same as the multiplication frame, but it is presented differently. How is it presented? Also in terms of this shape. The factors, instead of at the side and the top, is in this column. The product is in this column. Okay? Now, the product, which one is the product? The left side or the right side? The left side. The ones who are very fast, very good. This is the product. This is the product. Again, in the product, there are how many terms? 3 terms. Which terms give you clues to find the factor? X squared and? Minus 2. Correct. It's always the first one and the last one. So the one that gives you the clue is what you write over here. It gives me the clue. It determines the factor. So I must put it here first. Okay? Next. This part is so-called the checking column. Checking the middle term. Okay? So, you know your middle term must be minus x. This is how you fill up first. Okay? Left of the line is about finding the clues. Right of the line is about checking. Okay? Then, we determine the factors. How do I get x squared? Very good. Okay? How do I get 2 or negative 2? 1 times 2. Everybody okay so far? It's just a different form. Okay? So once that is done, question for you. If you are suspecting the answer to be x1 and x2 and putting it this form, when you expand to check, right? Do you multiply x times 1 or do you multiply x times 2? X times 1 or x times minus 2? How do you check? Does it make sense for you to times the 1 or x minus 2? X minus 2, right? To check. This is why this is called cross method. Okay, you cannot multiply by the one beside the x. You must multiply cross. Okay, so x times 1 will give you x and then I choose different color. X times 2 will give me 2x. Everybody see the checking column now? The checking column now is here instead of here. Can you see? Yeah. So now, how do I get minus x from these two? Again, I determine that this has to be minus and this has to be plus. Any questions so far? No? Okay, so you determine the sign by using the checking column. Once you know this is plus, this has to be plus, minus, this has to be minus. So your two factors are here and here. Everybody okay with this method? Can see? Okay, good. Okay, this is how you fill up. Digest, talk to your friend if you need to. Okay, I am going to relook at the chart, at the other question we did before. Why? Because this is how I do inspection method for a question where you're not sure about the factors. Okay? So, again, inspection method is in this layout. Product, you fill up first. X squared plus 10 plus 7. Okay, this is how I do. Next, determine the factors. To get x squared, it must be xx. To get 10, let's do the wrong answer first. I put 110. Okay, then I cross multiply. I get 10x. I get 1x. Can I get 7x from 1 and 10? Cannot. This is where you stop. And then you erase. I cannot get 7x from 10 and 1. So, if it's not 10 and 1, it must be 2 and 5. This is where you change it to 2 and 5. Then I check 2, 5. Can I now get 7x? Can. Now you determine the correct numbers. You determine the sign. And then you can determine the sign and give me your answer, which is x plus 2, x plus 5. Okay, this is